feasible to create a company with just like three people, right?
Well, it's not even one person, two people, or three people.
Imagine you have lost everything.
It's not about the money. It's not about anything.
Set realistic goals. I argue with them.
The goal and the vision can be extremely audacious.
We feel almost like a breakup.
You can convince them it is their cause.
What if the mindset, skill set, tool set
Could be a massive enterprise.
How do we have that outsider disruptor mindset?
You can create a unicorn.
Hey everyone, welcome to Real Knowledge Club Unicorn Summit. Today we have a truly fascinating guest with us, one of the thought leaders, internet billionaires, one of the greatest minds, greatest business strategists, and one of the world's most prolific speakers, the smartest thought leaders who has impacted so many people's lives and who has created some of the world's greatest innovative companies like InfoSpace, which went to like $45 billion in early 2000. Moon Express, the private individual company which has which has the goal to land to the moon, right? And Moon Express, and he's also the chairman of Singular University and Viome right now working on Viome making illness optional. And he's also one of my greatest mentors, and not just a mentor. He has impacted so many people's lives, and his children have impacted so many people's lives, like Ankur Jain built and creating such incredible companies, and Priyanka Jain and making a microbiome, making illness optional. We're here with us, Naveen Jain, today with us. And thank you so much, Naveen Jain. It's a truly honor to meet you, and super excited for it.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Naveen Jain, I'm so curious, and I'm so thankful to meet you. This is our second time meeting. We met in the 2021, and now right now on the artificial intelligence era, like there is so much of things going on, right? Where do you see the things? What is the mindset, skill set, tool set required to succeed in this era?
Well, first of all, the mindset has nothing to do with AI. You have to be able to believe in the possibilities of the world that is going to be better than it is today. You have to look at the world not as is, but what it can be. Anytime there is a technology or set of technologies that are disruptive, that means the current market leaders are no longer at an advantage, because the new players can now build a completely new way of thinking, new way of doing things, and they can build a new business altogether. That means every entrepreneur should be looking at these technologies as a way to disrupt the current market leaders. So to me, some of the best times to start a company is when there is, things are not as good, because this is the time that everyone is afraid. They're afraid of their own shadow. People go inside the shell. That's the time for innovators to come out and look at the world of possibilities. And as opposed to really looking at the doomsday scenarios about everything that's happening around us, look at the world and saying, look, we are living in one of the most peaceful time in the human history. Yes, there are wars. Yes, there are problems. But for every single problem, these are the opportunities for someone to solve them. And every one of these problems could be a massive enterprise. So always find something that can do a lot of good in the world, and you can build a great business around it.
Absolutely amazing. And Naveen Jain, I see like you have impacted so many people's lives, the non-conventional way of thinking, right? How do we have that outsider disruptor mindset?
Well, it comes from just really thinking about the problem from a different perspective. It is about asking the questions that people have not asked before. So it's, when you look at people who are experts, the reason they become experts is because they have taken the foundational knowledge for granted. That means that is what they know, and that is what they can build on. So they become incrementalist. Whereas the people who come from outside the industry, they are able to challenge the foundation of everything that experts have taken it for granted. And it happens every time there is a new idea. Most people who are experts will say that is not going to work, or that idea is a wrong idea. Whether you look at Galileo saying that, hey, Earth revolves around sun, it's not the other way around. And he was put in jail. He thought that was just, how can you possibly think like that, right? People did not think the planes were possible. They say if humans were able to fly, they would have wings. God did not want us to fly. They did not think the human body can travel any more than sitting on a horse, because they thought the body will implode if it ever went more than 10 miles an hour, right? And so point was, these were the beliefs of the existing society, and those beliefs are hard to break them because the experts really believe them to be true. So what I really found is that taking the knowledge from all the different industries and really applying to a completely different industry allows you to look at the problem from very different perspective. So whether you're looking at, someone coming from a software where you don't build a monolithic code, you really build functional objects, and you call different objects and they actually build on top of each other. Rockets were not built that way. Rockets were built as one monolithic thing. And what if you could be modular? What if rockets could be reused? We don't throw away a plane every time we travel, so why do we throw away the rocket? And all these things is what allowed us to do things differently. And this particular same type of thinking can be applied to almost every problem. And we can go through literally the largest problems facing humanity, whether it is a world hunger problem, and as opposed to figuring out how do we grow more food, how do we distribute food better, how do we stop this wastage of food. Yes, all those things need to be done. But what if somebody were to ask a question saying, why do we eat food? And the reason we need food is because we need energy and we need nutrition. What are the other ways we can get nutrition and energy? And suddenly the problem of world hunger becomes a totally different set of problems than simply growing the food. Same thing could be done for climate change. And I'm not suggesting that the climate change is not a problem, but look, if climate change is a problem because humans are now producing a lot of carbon that is going into the atmosphere, and that is correct, it is true. But if you look at relatively, we put less than 10% of the total amount of carbon that is actually being emitted into the air every year. Less than 10% comes from humans. 90% comes from, things like forest fires, decomposition of organic material. It is about volcanoes. And, instead of just focusing on the 10% that changed the balance, because 90% was balanced, as opposed to focusing only on the 10% that human caused, what if you can focus on 90% and reduce it? And even 10% of that will actually take care of everything that humans did. And that's really a very different way of looking at it. Can we stop the forest fires from happening? And the answer is yes. Because we're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of low Earth orbit satellites. They could easily detect the earliest sign of fire and extinguish them. And if we were to do so, we have done more for the climate than ever been done. Right? So these are really just asking different questions and really looking at the problem from a different perspective.
I love that. I love the perspective thinking and seeing from a different lens. Right. And Naveen Jain, what do you think are the core important ingredients to create a great unicorn company and creating a great infrastructure and create massive impact in today's AI era?
Well, in any era, it is fundamentally is the same thing. If you can solve any problem that helps million people, 100 million people, 1 billion people live a better life, you can create a unicorn. But it's not about a unicorn in terms of money. Making money is simply a byproduct of doing things that improve people's life. And it's simply saying that. The reason it works is if you make someone's life better, what do? They become your loyal customer because their life is better because of your product, your service. And if you have a loyal set of 1 million or billion customers, how can you not have a massive enterprise? So this idea of doing good and doing well, it used to be separate. It used to be, if you want to do good, you start a non-profit. If you want to do something, create wealth, you do for profit. And these two shall never collide. And what's really happening is the world is changing where customers want to buy product from companies that do good. And I think, to me, the only way to create a large enterprise is to do good for the people who are your customers, right?
Absolutely.
And that, to me, is just a very simple way of thinking about creating a unicorn.
Absolutely. I love that. And how do we determine whether we are going in the right direction or not? Today we have so much of information. There is ChatGPT, there are so many AI tools, so many books, so many motivational videos, everything, YouTube, right? Like we have so many things what we can do. How do we come to know the niche, whatever we have picked, is it like the right niche? Am I really solving a problem?
Well, ask yourself, number one is why it matters to you. Forget about anything else. Why do you want to dedicate 10 years, 15 years, or 100 years of your life to doing something? What it means to you. And once you find something that you're willing to die for, then you spend rest of your life living for it, right? You need to find something that will make you wake up early in the morning, make you jump out of the bed every morning you wake up. And one way to know that you're doing not the right thing is very simple. When you wake up in the morning and you don't jump out of the bed, you know what you're doing is the wrong thing to do. Because when you find something that actually is something you care about, you will find that you will wake up in the morning and you want to solve that problem. And that to me is the right way of doing it.
Absolutely. I love that. And is it feasible to create a company with just like three people right now, like a unicorn company? Peter Dimension, when I was watching the Singular University, also I was seeing Peter was also telling with the AI era, like a chief AI officer, one person, a CEO of a person who puts the North Star, and there is a chief operating officer who does the operation.
Well, it's not even one person, two people, or three people. It's not about the number of people. The fact is, there has never been a better time for an entrepreneur to start something. The cost of experimentation is so low compared to 20 years ago. To do anything, it required you to build a massive amount of infrastructure. Even for IT, I remember the first company when I started, we had to build our own data centers. Today, you can literally launch on day one something throw up on AWS. You want to know, is there a good product market fit? You can spend $10 on Google ads and get the customer to see would they buy your product or not. You can now get the crowdfunding on a lot of the sites, whether it's a Kickstarter or other sites. You can get people to buy your product and get funded. In fact, it's easier to reach people today than it has ever been. It used to be you had to build a software, you had to package them, then you had to get a distribution deal, and then you had to wait a lot of time. And if there was some mistake, you had to recall everything. Today, you can fix a problem instantly. So this is really an amazing time to take an idea. And most people don't understand. Entrepreneurship is simply about experimentation. How many experiments can you do quickly and know what ideas don't work? So it's not about simply finding that you have to have one right idea. Entrepreneurship are testing 10 ideas and finding the one that is actually going to work.
Absolutely. Love that. And Naveen Jain, I always used to tell in my community Real Knowledge Club, they have to listen to you, watch your videos, learn. And many are like, hey man, Naveen Jain is a very big guy and he's like 10,000 feet view answers. We are not able to relate. Now the question what I'm going to ask you is, imagine you have lost everything, all the wealth, money, name, everything, and you are again going to rebuild whatever with just the knowledge what you have. What will be your action step for the next 1 year, right? Like what all things, how will you do, and what will be the step-by-step plan? If you were like having just 5 minutes as a CEO, what decisions you're going to make?
Well, again, it's a very similar thing. Today, the reason, look at Elon Musk. How is he able to go from one industry to another industry and third industry? They're all unrelated. Yep. There's nothing that, fundamentally he knows an expert in any one of them. So to me, it's not about the money. It's not about anything. It's simply about experimentation and having a perseverance and belief in yourself to be able to go do something. If people believe in themselves, the world will believe in them. If people fall in love with themselves, the world will fall in love with them. People can't focus their life and live their life for someone else. They have to be able to pursue their dreams without someone else telling them if their dreams are worth pursuing or not. So to me, if you want to start something today, ask yourself, what is it that you care enough about to solve that problem? If you lost your loved ones to a cancer, if that's what you want to focus on, go focus on it. There are plenty of research that's out there. One of the most amazing thing is, this is the first time in human history where it doesn't matter whether you are in a village in India or you are sitting in US in the in the heart of innovation. Everyone has access to same information instantly. The paper gets published, everyone has access to that information. Everyone has access to the same people. You don't need to be working next to each other. The idea was that Silicon Valley, they were smart people together. It doesn't have to be. Now people are working remotely anyway. That means you have access to exactly the same people. You have access to exactly the same knowledge, and you have access to the same resources, financial resources, because the money is not patriotic. Money flows wherever the opportunities are. So if you can create an amazing opportunity, people will go to wherever the opportunities are. People thought the unicorns can never be created in India. And now you look at how many DACA unicorns are being created because the opportunities, some entrepreneur decide to create an opportunity. And that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely. Like where there is a will, like a proper vision, and like if we set a proper great mission, like people will be attracted.
And vision is overrated. I mean, to me, yes, vision gives you North Star, but that is something you have to be able to never forget what is it that you're trying to solve. But how you get there will constantly change. So to me, anyone who tells you they know how to go from point A to this North Star, if they believe they know it, they're wrong. Because they're going to be ups and downs. They're going to be the hurdles that you're going to find. And you're going to zigzag and actually find a different way of getting there than you thought you were going to get there. So never forget what you are trying to do, but always be ready to adapt as the marketplace, as the new information arrives. Because today you have a set of some information, and every day when you're executing, you get new information. And when you have new information, you actually adapt and come up with a new idea.
Absolutely, I love that. And Naveen Jain, when you always tell like setting audacious goal, right? I've seen a lot of people who tell about like set realistic goals. I argue with them. Like I tell them, see, Naveen Jain is the man who always tells like you have to set audacious goals. And when we tell to even our team members, they're not able to relate. How can we make them relate and connect with audacious goals?
Yeah. So the main thing is, remember, the goal and the vision can be extremely audacious, but the ultimate things can be very, very tactical and very specific. So in a sense that when we say we are going to focus on making illness optional, it is, people say, what does it really mean? What do I do as an employee? And the answer is, first thing we're going to do is to understand gut microbiome, and we're going to focus on that. So it really is, but we never say we are a gut microbiome company. That's a means to our audacious goal of making illness optional. And then we say, let's understand how the human genes are actually adapting and changing when the microbes are changing. And then we say, what if we can add the oral microbiome to it? So again, it's very specific what you do along the way. So what you do is, your vision is this, think of as a rainbow, and you take each slice of it and you keep adding to it. And by the time you know you have executed the whole vision, but doesn't mean on day one you have to be able to do everything. You start with very, very specific thing that you're going to do next in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then you keep moving forward.
Absolutely, I love that. And Naveen Jain, always you tell like we need to build a great team, right? And to build a great team, and how do we retain them, and how do we take care and well-being of a team member?
Sure.
Because I saw like some great team members come, and when they leave, like we feel almost like a breakup, right? Because so much of emotion, time, energy is being put, right? How do we?
Well, again, the thing is, if you believe that team member works for you, then they leave you. But if you can convince them it is their cause, and your cause and their cause is the same cause, so you all work together as a cause, and it is everyone's cause. So when the team joins, they have to believe in the purpose and the cause that we set out to do. And if it's their cause, they are leaving their cause. They're not leaving you, right? And that becomes very, very difficult. So you find a team that is complementary. That means they are not like you. So if you're good at one thing, don't find someone who is just like you. So when you're looking for a friend, you want someone like you. When you're looking for a team member, you want to find people who are unlike you, people who don't have the same set of skills that you do. Right? So I am very good at strategy, but I'm not very good at day-to-day operations. So first person I hire is an operation person. If I was a good operation person, then I'll hire a strategy person. And then you have to hire the thing. If I'm not good at technical, you hire a technical team. So you really have to complement. And these people are not going to have the same skill. Your job is to determine what trees to cut. And their job is to make sure they cut the tree and they build the road behind it. But they have to trust you that you're telling them that there is a path to where you want to go.
Absolutely. We have to make sure that they are aligned. Like we are just like an person who is going to take them to their goal. Like we have to make them realize.
But we don't remember. It's not us taking them to their goal.
Yep.
They have to believe you are just another team member with a different skill than them. But doesn't mean your skill is any more valuable than theirs. We all have to look at it and saying, if to get there, you need 10 different types of people, and you are one of them. So it's not my job to lead you there. It is your job to go there. It's my job to go there. It's everyone's job to go there. And when we work together, we get there. When we start to have mistrust amongst each other, then everyone starts challenging each other.
Absolutely. I love that. And Naveen Jain, what is the parenting advice like you will tell to, because you have grown up like your parent or like your children in a so amazing way, right? Like Ankur Jain solving some of the most incredible problems, Priyanka Jain, like how do you raise them and
Sure. So I think, parenting is very counterintuitive. So, a lot of the times people believe it's about amount of time you spend with your children. Your children don't do what you tell them to do. Your children do what they see you do. So when you say money doesn't matter, focus on this, and then you constantly chasing money, they see through that. So when you say, hey, you need to work hard, but when you make a lot of money, you sit at home and work and watch them because you want to spend time with them. That's a selfish thing to do. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself, right? And you need to know that your selfishness is going to destroy your children. But people think of that, oh, it's a selfless thing. It's not. It is a very selfish thing to do, right? So to me, the parenting is about showing your children what is possible, they have to believe that your parents are constantly pushing the humanity forward. They believe in what they do, and they're constantly looking at different set of problems. And most children believe the parents are not the smartest people. Most children believe the parents are morons. And they see if the moron parents can do so much, why can't I do even better? And that's really is about your job as a parent is not to take them to water and make them drink. Your job as a parent is to make them thirsty by giving them this intellectual curiosity. Have them really ask themselves question, what if it was possible? What if this could be done? So don't say it can't be done. You simply say, what would it take for it to be done? What are the problems need to be solved for this big problem to be solved? And you start to break them down and say, why can't we just focus on that and solve that, right? And to me, really looking at from the early days, even the fact, instead of reading them the stories, we will have them tell us a story about unrelated things. So just to show them that everything in the world can be connected, right? Giving them that intellectual curiosity to pursue their dreams in different subjects. And every one of our kids end up really building a company in a completely different industry. And each one of them is going out and solving a massive problem. Whether uncle going out and solving the problem for middle class people to benefit from renting, or Priyanka our daughter focused on building the women's health, or our youngest one really focused on helping people own homes, right? Really different, completely different set of ideas. But the idea is, what are the problems they care about and solving them?
Absolutely. Supporting our children, showing them the right direction, telling what's possible, and showing them what to do. I love that. And Naveen Jain, what drives you so much, right? Like, where do you get so much energy? Like, I see, like, you wake up 4 a.m., I believe, like, the day before yesterday, you messaged me at 3:58 a.m., right? what wakes you up at this time, and like you are still thriving, working so hard, and making our lives better?
Well, again, you wake up because you are focused on solving a problem. You want to solve that problem. You care about solving that problem. You never wake up in the morning for doing things you don't want to do. And that is really the thing is, if you find something that you're so deeply care about it, you will jump out of the bed when you wake up in the morning and you dedicate your life to solving it. And I think every one of us can find that in us. What really happens is we stop believing in ourselves because everyone around us, conditions us to believe that it cannot be done. They create these hurdles because they see for themselves, they actually project them on us. You are a brown person, you can't do that. You are living in India, you cannot do that. You are this person, you cannot do that. I mean, all of these things are simply their own mindset and belief system that prohibits them from getting to their dreams, and they want to crush everyone else's dream by saying they can't do that. So, to me, if you are listening to this, just remember, the only person who has right to tell you you can't do that is you, no one else, right? You have to be the person who says, I am the person who can, and I am the person who can't. And either way, you are right. When you believe you can't, you are right. When you believe you can, you are right. Right? It's just a matter of what is it that you believe. Your belief system is really what propels you forward. Your belief system is what propels the humanity forward, right? So what do you believe in? If you believe the world is falling apart, you will find the evidence the world is falling apart. If you believe the world is better than it has ever been historically, you will find the evidence the world has never been this better, right? If you look at today, it looks so violent, the number of people who are dying in the war. It is nothing compared to what used to happen centuries ago when the armies were coming and they were tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, people were dying all the time. The plague would have killed half the humanity. And yes, COVID was bad, but that was a blip on the radar for humanity, right? But that could have wiped out the humanity as a whole. So point is, we as humans have unbelievable talent to tackle the problems. If you look at it, 2 decades ago, we thought the ozone layer, the ozone hole is going to kill us all. And, we took charge, we got rid of CFC, and guess what? The hole is patched up, or it's getting patched up, right? Point is, we as humanity have lots and lots of tools at our disposal when we come together to solve the problem.
Absolutely, I love that. And Naveen Jain, what have you seen in the education system, right? Like, because until now the education system was more about like old books, this thing, and right now things is going so exponentially, like the quantum leap, like as you were telling in the Moonshots book, right? Like it's going to turn like so fast. What's your thoughts on the?
Well, remember, you have to first ask yourself, why do we educate our children? Because unless you answer that question, everything else is a complete waste of time. So if you believe the reason they need education is to have knowledge or skills, well, that is gone. Because it doesn't matter what skill you learn in college. By the time you graduate, it is quite likely that skill has become obsolete. So what is it that you want education system to be? Not about teaching a skill, but about learning to learn. Once you teach the children learning to learn, when you teach them learning to solve problems, when you teach them how to collaborate together to solve something, when you teach them that you don't have to be an expert in everything, you can actually put the experts together and you could be the catalyst to bring the things together, you suddenly have a very different education system. So it's not that our education system is anyway broken. Our education system has become obsolete. And when it becomes obsolete, you have to reinvent it. Right? Today, there is nothing that you want to learn is not freely available to you on the internet today. If you really want to learn about quantum physics, there is more about quantum physics you can learn on the internet than you can go to Harvard, MIT, or Stanford, any college. Because there you have one professor, is their knowledge is the all you can learn. Today on the internet, you can learn from 10, 20, 30 experts from different colleges, and you can form your own opinion based on listening to 10 people's opinion rather than one person's opinion becoming your opinion.
Absolutely, like we have to become absolutely best at what we do and get the right knowledge. And Naveen Jain, you must have encountered so many things in your past so many years, right? What are the critical red flags to avoid in terms of like better decision making in business and stuff?
You never make a decision based on a short-term thinking. That means it's going to make you more money today. You always focus on saying, every decision you make today, ask yourself, how will it help someone's life better if I make this decision? And if it's not, then you know in the long term, you're making a wrong decision. So the best way to know is that every decision you evaluate simply by asking, is this decision going to help make other people's life better or my customer's life better? If my customer's life is not going to be better because of this decision, then don't do it. Because in the long term, the only way you can build a sustainable, great company is to constantly improve your customers' lives.
Absolutely love that. And the next question is like, what are the grand challenges? Like I see, like you have like the X Prize, right? Like helping people with that, with Elon and Peter. And what are the like a prize which you are planning to give, or like something for the people in India, or like someone who is doing something great in edtech or whatever industry?
But remember, every single industry, every single set of place you look at, there are enough challenges. Look at, if we can stop the forest fires from happening, not only you can stop trillions of dollars of damage that happens, it's just not in itself. What happens is, because of the amount of carbon that we emit from forest fires, it causes the hurricanes to happen, because now you have warming of the planet, and that hurricanes wipes out more people's homes, and there's so much damage gets done because we are not doing something basic like that. Now you can look at the same thing, human longevity. Why is it that we believe that as we age, we have to get sick? And we take it for granted. When you turn 50, of course you can't walk properly. When you turn 70, of course you're going to have heart disease. When you turn 80, of course you're going to lose your muscle. The answer is, none of the things are actually written anywhere in our DNA that says, when you this age, this is what's going to happen. And that's the reason we believe that we take these things for granted. What if you can challenge that? There is no reason, because people say it's, in your genes. Well, it's not hereditary. The thing is, you look at many people whose parents may not be healthier. Doesn't mean somehow you won't be healthier. It is for each individual to take control of their own health. And I really believe that once you do that, you can solve the problem of these diseases that helps us increase the health span, which will ultimately lead to increasing the lifespan. But you focus on increasing the health span rather than simply focus on increasing the lifespan.
Absolutely. And Naveen Jain, I see like you also take care of your health so much and you want to solve that big problem. And your biological age is also like 10 years. Like right now, I believe like you're 63, but your biological age is 53. What are some tips like you want to tell if somebody wants to live long and take care of the health?
Well, there are basic things you can do. There are 5 things you should do to increase your health and longevity. Number 1 is nutrition. And again, the part about nutrition is, there is a general guideline of these are the healthy food. Well, it turns out there is no such thing as universal healthy food. A food that's good for one person may not be good for someone else, or even the food that's good for you today may not be good for you a year from now, right? So the point is, once you get the right nutrition, it's not that, spinach is healthy for everyone. It's, one man's food can be another man's poison. But once you get the right nutrition, which is the number 1 thing in the hierarchy of longevity, once you have that, then you have the right fuel in the body. The second thing is reducing the stress. Stress is one of the things that causes you to constantly inflame and constantly destroy your cells. Because when you are stressed, you are always in the fight or flight response. under fight or flight response, your digestive system, which is considered non-essential, because the only time you were stressed when we evolved was because you were being chased by the tiger. And at that point, it didn't matter whether you digested your food or not. There are two outcomes. You got eaten and you became lunch for someone else, or you survived and then you have plenty of time to digest your food. But at that point, your immune system is not needed. So it really focuses on for you to build the muscles, get the endorphins, get the things for you to ready to fight or run. And when we today are living in an environment we are constantly stressed, whether it is stress from work, stress at home, it could be a stress from many environmental things we live in. And once you can reduce that stress, we are able to, in fact, reduce the amount of cortisol, amount of inflammation in the body that allows our body to actually function and live in homeostasis. Now, obviously, you can do meditation. You can also look at all kinds of things is even before you eat, do the prayer, do the gratitude, do the things that serve others, because that actually moves the body from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode. So moves from fight or flight response back into the homeostasis. The third really is about movement, exercise. And you have to be able to get enough exercise. And it's not about spending hours in the gym. It is simply moving your body, be able to get 4 or 5 miles a walk. If you can get, as you age, do a little bit more, use your own body to do some muscle training. So just do some push-ups, to be able to do some crunches, to be able to do some pull-ups. And that's basic things you can do. You don't need a lot of equipment to do anything. You can do squats. I mean, those are really the basic things anyone can do. And that's really all you need in terms of exercise. And the fourth is sleep. And to be able to get a proper sleep. And proper sleep, again, has been misclassified that everyone needs 7-8 hours of sleep. It's really not the time you spend in bed. It's really the amount of deep sleep you get, amount of REM sleep you get. And if you can get 1.5 hours of REM sleep and deep sleep, and if you can get that in 4 hours or 5 hours, great. If you need 7, take 7. But that's really is about not quantity of sleep, but the quality of sleep. And that's really important to get a good quality of sleep. And the last thing is finding a purpose, because people who live a life of purpose tend to live 10 to 15 years longer than people who have no purpose. So find something that you care about. Find a purpose in your life and go dedicate your life to that.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to know about Viome, right? Like, what is Viome all about and how it can help people like us?
Yeah, so again, Viome is fundamentally about understanding what's happening in your body, not treating your body as a black box. Understand when you eat a particular food, what is it going to do? Because every time we eat something, it gets metabolized by our oral microbiome. So by chewing your food, when it goes to your gut, it's actually your microbes are converting that food into another chemical, and is there going to be good or bad for you? So depending on what is already happening in your ecosystem, in your gut, in your mouth, in your body, how your body is currently inflamed and what is causing that inflammation, you can see we can actually, analyze your gut and, your oral microbiome and your human cells. By looking at your stool, blood, and saliva, we can tell you what's happening in your body from your biological age to your cognitive health, your cardiac health, your gut health, and oral health. We can tell you more deep inside as much as you want to know, but tell you what food you should eat and why, what food you should not eat and why, what nutrients your body is lacking, and we can actually create those supplements in that specific dosage just for you. And the thing that we do is we're looking at RNA, so it's dynamic. So as your body is changing, we are able to say, hey, now the food that used to be good is no longer good, and here's because what's happening in your body now. And that's really is the fundamentally is that a lot of times people eat the same food thinking it's good for them. A lot of times people do their DNA analysis, and the problem with the DNA analysis is your DNA never changes. So if you eat foods based on your DNA, and if you gain 200 pounds and become diabetic and have heart disease, you have to change something. And your DNA is still not changed. And that's a fundamental problem. The DNA can't even tell you you're dead or alive, let alone you're healthier or sicker, right? And so fundamentally understanding what's happening in your body and really tuning your food, supplements, nutrients to your body is the only way to live healthy.
Absolutely love that. And Naveen Jain, I see like you did your IIT from India, came here, did your MBA, worked in Microsoft, then started to work upon so many moonshot companies. You are not a doctor, you're not a scientist. Then how do you learn it, right? Like you are some of the smartest people I've seen, like 10 times smarter than a normal doctor. Like how do you go about when it comes down to learning a new subject? What's the framework?
So first of all, I did not do an MBA from here. I actually finished all my education in India, which was really good, very good schools. The main thing is a doctor knows very, very little. And the reason is if you have a doctor that has been practicing for 20 years, think about it. Their knowledge is 20 years old, what they were told in the medical college 20 years ago. The world is changing so fast. In the last 5 years, probably 10,000 scientific papers come out, and none of them doctors will know about. Right? So my job is to constantly update myself. Every day I spend 3-4 hours looking at all the latest research. What is it that we are learning? And how do we utilize that particular learning to the benefit of our customers so they can benefit today rather than wait 10 to 20 years? Doctors today, even today, are not taught about nutrition. So how can they do anything? How can they even prescribe nutrition to you when they don't learn anything in college? They're simply taught about how to prescribe drugs. And they become really, to large practical purposes, a salespeople for pharmaceutical companies, right? And our whole medical industrial complex makes money when you are sick. And when I am sick, it doesn't make money when we are healthy. So they have no incentive to keep us healthy because they can't survive as a business if we are healthy. So they have to rethink their business model of how do they create a business model where they make money by keeping us healthy, and then the society will change.
Absolutely love that. We discussed about business, health, now, and when it comes down to relationship, right? Do you think a relationship partner play an important role? Like you had Anu ma'am with you. Like, can you tell us?
Sure. Of course. I mean, in anything you do in life, the relationship plays an important part. It is your colleagues. If they don't believe in you, it will constantly stress you out because you're spending so much of your time trying to move everybody forward, right? So I think it is so important that you find yourself surrounded by people who absolutely believe in you, people who are going to help you pursue your dreams, people who are going to stand by you when you may be down. So it's really not the people who are constantly pulling you down like cockroaches, right? They're always pulling each other's down. So your job is to surround yourself with a group of people who are smarter than you, people who believe in each other, and people who are going to be uplift each other rather than bring each other down.
Absolutely love that. Someone who is like balancing the second half, right? Like who believes in us, like just one person believing in us gives us so much energy.
And I think the idea is to find people around you when you're working in a company that believe in the cause and they believe in you. And it's not just believe in you, you believe in them. And everyone believing in each other is really what pushes the company forward, that pushes the cause forward, that pushes the humanity forward.
Absolutely. And I was watching a Vision's interview while you were talking about like when you love someone, it's like a remote, right? Like when you fall in love with them completely, they can play with you like a remote, like on, off, right? Should we first love ourselves and then love others, or like what's your take?
So the thing I think you're asking me is that, happiness can never come from someone outside. Happiness has to come from inside. If you are unhappy inside, you could be sitting in a paradise and still be unhappy. And if you are happy inside, you could be in Bellevue and still be happy, right? It can be anywhere and you could be happy, right? Point is, that happiness is an inside job. When you find this, you believe someone else is going to make you happy, then they control your happiness and they decide when you're happy and when you're not happy. If you believe someone else brings you joy, they decide when you need to be joyful and they decide when you don't need to be joyful, right? And that, only you should have that right to be able to control your anger. No one can make you angry. Only you have the right to make yourself angry. So when you say you made me angry, the answer is no. You reacted. It's only I make myself angry by reacting to what you did. And if I don't react, then I can't be angry.
Absolutely. And when it comes down to spirituality, what are the things like you practice every day?
Well, spirituality to me is very much about, being true to yourself. really doing things that you believe in. I don't as much believe in religion and God and churches and temples, because these are interpretation of someone else, and we don't even know if God actually exists. It's not like someone died and came back and said, I saw God, right? Or saying, oh my God, I gave money to temple, and when I was there, they really had a Tempur-Pedic mattress for me, and they had a beautiful lobby waiting for me, and say they were, point is, these are all human concepts that we made up. And a lot of the religion is about making sure we do the right thing by each other and showing that, hey, there is some omnipotent, omnipresence person who is watching us. So let's not do anything that harms our fellow humans. So they are really guardrails for humans to be nice to each other and be kind. And in that way, almost all religions are the same.
Absolutely love that. And Naveen Jain, you have spoken in so many big stages like 10X Growth Conference, the Mind Valley Summits, the A-Fest, and like so many other places. Do you have any future plans to speak in Indian summits in 2023, 2024?
I mean, honestly, I've spoken in India, and I think there was one of the conference from Web Summit. I did speak there in Bangalore, but it's really don't have a program, but I'm sure it will happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm super excited for it, right?
Thank
like
you.
welcoming you to Bangalore in future in Delhi.
I think there's some really good events. I think the Hindustan Times Summit is really good. I think Times
Your
of
Story
India.
Summit. There are so many incredible things happening. And really excited to meet you again in India as well. And any last words, Naveen Jain, you want to tell to everyone who is watching this?
Well, I can say is, please just know that there is nothing that's impossible if you believe in it. So go dream so big that people think you're crazy, and just know that the only time you fail is when you give up. So just continue pursuing your dreams, and you are the only person who can actually find whether your dreams are worth pursuing or not.
Absolutely. Just listen and go for it. Thank you so much once
again. Thank you.
For your super valuable time.
Thank you.
We all know India is the diabetics capital of the world. Our nation is facing a severe problem because we don't have that preventive healthcare education. And if you see, most of the people in India die, apart from the old age, is like cardiovascular disease, cancer, and high blood pressure, which can be easily prevented. And I discovered one of the greatest clinics, which is at like Chennai, which is AVO Clinic, which has like profound infrastructure and excellent cutting edge facility, and they are using artificial intelligence to understand what's happening in our body, the things what we cannot see or like ask like a normal person, right? And with precision, which leads to one of the most important things. Like it's always told, prevention is like better than cure. And if you are living an ultra busy lifestyle, want to take control of your health, I highly recommend you go to like Chennai at MRC Nagar, do your AVO 181 test and like understand what's happening in your body, like DEXA scan. I basically did that. I was able to understand where is the fats in my body, what I need to eat. I had the call with the doctor, and they told me what food I need to eat, what supplements I need to do, and everything. And this will help you live longer. And I have put the link in the description. You can check out from that link. And also, if you're very serious about like longevity and want to live for 100 years and want to talk to like billionaires like Shiva Shankaran sir, like Aircel founder, I invite you for the 7 days longevity retreat, which is happening at like the Neela Palace, the 5-star hotel. People around the world from like USA, UK, Europe, and India are also coming. Do check out that event so that you are able to learn even more knowledge about like longevity and everything. And I'll see you at that event on January 2025. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button right now.